What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing my buddy Zach's 2009 Audi S5. This Audi is the 4.2 liter V8 with the 6-speed manual option, and the 6-speed manual option is actually a pretty rare option for these S5s, very hard to find. This 4.2 liter produces about 354 horsepower with 325 pound-feet of torque. And with the all-wheel drive suspension, it's good power, has a curb weight of about 3,900 pounds, which, you know, is heavier definitely for a coupe. So, starting onto the mods of this car, it does have APR fuel pumps with carbon APR cold air intakes. In addition to that, it does have an upgraded clutch. It's the spec stage 3 clutch, which is pretty heavy, definitely heavier than the stock one. This car also has a full exhaust onto it. As you can tell, it's got JHM no cat downpipes, so test pipes. It also has the AWE track exhaust with a rear muffler delete with the AWE tuning tips. And as you're gonna hear, this car sounds mental, like literally mental. It is really loud, but the best part about this exhaust is there's little to no drone, honestly, but the sound carries at the same time, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. It also has that true V8 sound and coming out of a 4, and it's just honestly an awesome tone, one of the best tones I've ever heard in a car personally. So the final two performance aspects to this vehicle is going to be the JHM short throw shifter, and then the final performance aspect is going to be a stage 1 APR tune. Getting into the true guts of this car, obviously why it stands out is going to be the visual aspects, the aesthetics aspects of this car. This does have 3P Airlift air ride suspension the whole way around, and it just really sets off the car. These cars have really sleek body lines, and it is a very simple looking car, and with the no wheel gap and the perfect wheel and tire setup, they're absolutely gorgeous. So he does have Rotiform 3-piece OZT wheels. They're going to be 20 by 10.5, both front and in the rear, and they're definitely thick wheels, but surprisingly it can do it. And with the low, it definitely needed to be widened a little bit, and I think he made with the perfect choice. As you can tell, it's pretty much a flush fit, and it's extremely attractive from almost every angle. Also on the side, we do have a light tint, probably like a 35 to 40%. Coming onto the front, you're gonna see we have the Euro style headlights, so that deletes the amber. Just another small touch to make this car that much more aesthetically pleasing. In addition to the headlights, it also has a character front bumper, which is an aftermarket bumper with a character front splitter with rods. Lower stance, much more aggressive stance, bigger grille. It just looks overall very nice. As you can see here, we have carbon imported side skirts with a slight fin in the rear. So now coming onto the rear, we do have facelifted LED taillights, a much more modern look for sure. And then right below that, we have a DeVal carbon diffuser with a triple fin setup. And then on the sides here, we also have custom DeVal rear canards. Moving on to the interior, as you can see, we have the facelifted flat bottom steering wheel. Definitely much better than the stock one, and it's some of those little details that honestly take this car to the next level. We also have the Black Forest Industries shift knob. It's just the right size, it feels awesome, and with the short throw shifter, I think it's a great combination. Also being on the interior, you can also see we have our Airlift performance control module here. Tells you the PSI in all 4 bags. It does have the Quarto all-wheel drive system. Very, very solid all-wheel drive system. I've been in multiple cars that have this system, and probably one of the best, if not the best, all-wheel drive system that I've been in or have experienced, I should say. It also does have ABS with a traction control line, and then obviously all the features here, you know, heated seats, dual climate controls, heated mirrors, keyless entry. It's got all the technology that most of these modern cars have. Right, driving the S5. First initial impressions that I notice is, just like my Mustang, it is obviously extremely low to the ground. It's weird because I have not been this low to the ground in months, and you've got to make sure you're watching the road because every bump could be attempted suicide for this vehicle. One thing that I noticed is the clutch is very odd. Seems to get very heavy and then kind of light and then heavy again. But the second wave of the bite point seems to be pretty hard to find, honestly. Like, you barely just have to blip the clutch and that's pretty much your bite point right there. This specific car has 118,000 miles on it. Zach bought this car about 2.5 years ago now, and he honestly hasn't had any like maintenance problems or anything crazy like that. I mean, you know, regular oil changes, all that stuff. The only problem that has really occurred with this vehicle is leaking valve cover gaskets, but you know, it's $30 from AutoZone and that problem's completely cleared. Interior of the S5, I love the seats. I think they're super sporty and they have a nice bucket to them. I'm super thin, and honestly, if I was a little bit bigger, I think these seats would be absolutely perfect. One huge thing about these S5 Audi interiors is minus the infotainment system, they're very modern. If I didn't know anything about cars and I got in this, I would think it's from 2013 and 2014. The infotainment system, like most Audis from this era, has the same thing, the same radio Cirrus and the tack in the middle of the gauge cluster. The shifter feel in this car is very short, but there's a lot of play in it. I am a fan of the layout in this interior. Everything seems to be very driver focused. Man, this fucking weird clutch. So this car is freaking loud, like really loud. It sounds good. It sounds good. I do love how fast this car revs up and down. If you can hear, it's just ridiculous. So it's definitely a very similar ride quality, honestly, to stock suspension in my opinion, especially when it comes to like how bumpy it is and how rough it is. Handling too, I honestly would say is also right around stock. They are definitely good at handling. Taking these things on back roads is kind of insane. There's very little play in the wheel. It's pretty tight steering, which I really like, and it just makes it a much sportier feel. The gas pedal is very touchy. As this car is tuned though, that has probably been thrown off at some point. Brakes right off the bat, you kind of have to ease into them, but once you're actually moving, if you need to nail the brakes, they are good. Definitely better than the Mercedes brakes for sure. I just can't believe, honestly, that this car straight pipe Nissan Juke. But like I was saying, this car is kind of hard to believe that it is from '09. It really does feel so much newer. And I don't know if that's just kind of how refined everything is and how the shape the interior's in and how sporty and stylish the exterior is. There's just something about it that it just does feel very relatively new.